Hey everyone, Wydick welcoming you to Game 2 of a Best of 3 series from Group C of the Winter Dreamhack 2013 edition, played in Sweden. And this time on Shir Vestige, we've got spawning in the top left, representing Team Acer, Mr. Barcode, apparently, it's Innovation. And Innovation's opponent is spawning in the bottom right as the Blue Protoss, representing Woonjin Stars. We've got SOS. And once again, in this game, we're going to be playing on a two-player map, Shir Vestige. Now, if you didn't catch Game 1, SOS opened up with a proxy Stargate play. Unfortunately, the Reaper from Innovation was able to detect it very early. And from that point on, SOS was not able to recover. Innovation was able to stampede himself into a 1-0 series advantage. So it looks like SOS is going to be playing more standard this time. Innovation doesn't look like he's going to be greedy. He's going for the barracks first play. So it doesn't look like any hijinks early on in this game. Now, here on Shir Vestige, it is quite easy to defend the natural. It's only one area to block off here, so both players should be able to get their natural quite easily. Now, at the same time, protecting the turret can be difficult because there are a few ways to access it. Here on the left and here from the right. And if you blow up the rocks, it is a lot easier to access this third base. Now, I have seen it less frequently where players will take this as their third base, but it's a lot more difficult to defend. So generally, players will take this as a third base. Also, the Xel'Naga towers are quite useful because to go from your opponent's base is basically diagonally down. So controlling either Xel'Naga tower can give you quite a bit of scouting information. And this probe is going to be able to scout out that SCV as well. So SOS knows an SCV is coming to his base to scout. So nothing really strange happening as of yet. We are going to be seeing another Reaper opening from Innovation. And a proxy pylon again by SOS. So interesting. But on this map, to jump up into the main, you do have to access the natural. So it's not as convenient as, say, Star Station. But Reapers can still be effective on this map. They can still do quite a bit of harassment. And they are still fast. I mean, they even if they don't get a lot of kills in the beginning, they can still harass or get scouting information in the mid-game. Now, this is very interesting. SOS is once again going to force his luck here. He's going to be going for that Stargate play once again. This is very, very strange. I guess he thinks, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, he's not going to do it twice. Now, this Reaper is not going to be able to see this. He doesn't have the high ground advantage. So, for now, this Stargate has been undetected. But once again, it's because he's missing a pylon from his main. So, this Reaper is now looking over to the far right, looking for that Stargate once again. So, SOS finally, his Stargate is going to finish. And now that Oracle is going to be pumping out of there very quickly. Excuse me there. The Reaper is going to be scouting around. It can't find that Stargate. Looking around in vain. That Oracle is half finished. And with that reactor, Innovation is going to be pumping out Marines really, really fast. He's already got one missile turret halfway done in his main. He needs another one at the natural and maybe one near his production facilities. But it looks like this Reaper is going to give up and just focus down on harassing some probes. Able to get one probe. Not bad. Unfortunately, Innovation is going to lose an SCV of his own. But SOS has now his Oracle proxy play in process, excuse me. The Oracle can focus down on the Marines. Instead, it is going to be scared away by the missile turrets and the combination of the Marines. So SOS's Oracle proxy play hasn't paid off as of yet. Now, the natural doesn't have missile turrets. And remember, if the Marines are pulled over there, that means the Marines are not at the main. So this Oracle is faster and doesn't have to worry about elevation. So the Oracle can be used for that advantage. Now, I don't see another Oracle coming out. And SOS is getting stim as well. So this Oracle has not been very effective. And finally, he's going to get some SCV kills while taking some missile turret damage. finally able to destroy 3 SCVs. Not really paying for itself as of yet. I just missed some action here. I believe it was the Reaper. So, unfortunately for this Oracle, only getting an additional SCV kills. At least he's able to delay that supply depot, as Innovation is currently supply blocked. But that's not much of a consolation. When you go proxy Oracle, you got to get lots of kills. You got to get like a dozen SCV kills sort of thing to make it worth it. Now, he is going to be able to zoom into the natural, able to snipe off 2 more SCVs. So, the resources lost is building up quite a bit for our Terran opponent. Terran player, excuse me. Now, whether or not that's going to translate well into the mid-game has yet to be seen. Now, both players are on 2 bases, and SOS is going to be solidifying on 2 bases, getting 2 upgrades as well as 2 more gateways. Innovation is going to be going for another barracks as well as a factory. That'll bring up his barracks total to 3 to match the gateway total of SOS. And he only has 1 lone engineering base. So once again in this game, Innovation is going to be behind upgrade-wise, but he was able to get the victory in the previous game. Oracle is looking for some SCV blood. Unfortunately, the Marines are going to be able to scare away that Oracle. So very interesting play by SOS, just going for that proxy Oracle once again. Unfortunately, it didn't really give him much of an advantage. If you can get like 10 or 12 SCV kills, like right away, then it's really worth your time. But he was delayed for quite a bit. His first waylay into the zone was not effective. So unfortunately, even though he does have 6 kills, a lot of those kills did come later. And when you kill SCVs later, they're already mining a lot, and so the amount of economic damage you're doing is a lot less than it could be, ideally. But Innovation is not on 3 bases yet. This is still up for anyone. Supplies are dead even at 72, and it looks like Innovation is going to be moving across to try and scout out his 3rd base and see if anything is there. At the same time, he is floating that factory. He's committed to playing bio, and with double medevacs coming out, he may be ready to attack soon. At the same time, this Oracle is not paying attention, but able to snipe down 2 of the Marines, but the Oracle is going to back off right into all the Marines. That Oracle is going to fall. But his dying move is to be able to figure out where all these Marines are going. So it's not a complete loss, but not a great trade for SOS. And SOS knows exactly what is coming. That's a lot of Marines. And it looks like we are going to get a hallucinated Colossi in the mix. Interesting. Fortunately, they don't do any damage here. It looks like the Nexus is going to take the brunt of the damage. The Tim Marines are focusing down on that Nexus. The Nexus is going to blow up very soon here in the raid. It is going to die. Force fields do finally go down. And the medevacs are going to pick up most of the units and boost away. So SOS, unfortunate for him, he wasn't in the right position. I think SOS was thinking that Innovation was going to try and push forward and not focus down on that Nexus. But Innovation, just with the Nexus snipe, stimming the Marines and the Marauders, getting the medevacs to boost away, and picking up the rest of the units was a great play by Innovation. And now, look at this long probe train. SOS is really behind. He's going to be behind economically as well. Supplies are in favor of our Terran player by about 10. So things are looking pretty good on the north side of town. Unfortunately, when you go across the tracks, it looks like the economic recovery has not yet established itself. Now, SOS is not out by any means, but he is down 1-0 in this series. And Innovation has really crippled him by taking away that Nexus. That's another 140 seconds that there's no mining here, or the mining is extremely long distance. And it looks like the proxy pylon from SOS on the east side of the map is going to be taken out as well. So nothing is going well for SOS. He can't even warp in some stealth reinforcements to harass that 3rd base going up for Innovation. It looks like we are going to get a head-on-head encounter near the middle of the map. A lot of Zealots are going to get focused down because the Marines do, the Marauders do have concussive shells. And it looks like the Marines and Marauders are going to fight all the Zealots. Zealots are charging in there, but the force fields are actually going to cut off the Zealots from being able to get in there. Very strange play by SOS putting up those force fields and throwing the Zealots in there to die. And now finally, most of the force fields do subside. The Zealots are going to charge in there again with the reinforcements of the Archons in the back. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Marines behind this force field once again. So the force field's doing a little bit of delaying for the Terran player, but as well as SOS, and I don't think that's what he intended. And it looks like SOS didn't come out very well in that encounter. Now, resources lost is dead even, and the medevacs are trying to boost around, trying to find a location to go to. And finally, 2 of the medevacs are going to boost away. The third one is not boosting yet. But it looks like they are going to drop down. Now, with High Templars in the mix, a few good feedbacks and or Sonic Storms can really, really turn the tide of the game. Are we going to see any here? A lot of feedbacks do go down on the medevacs. Medevacs don't have any energy to heal these the stimmed Marines and Marauders, but they still can pick up the hurt units, and they will pick up and boost away. So unfortunately for SOS, Innovation is going to be able to escape with his very injured medevacs and Marauders and Marines. And SOS has had enough of this cat and mouse game. He's going to charge the front door, it looks like. He's very close to the natural. Now, once again, SOS does have the upgrade advantage. He has 2-2, while Innovation only has +2 weapon upgrades. But this attack has to go really well for SOS because he is down by 1 base. Innovation is stimming and kiting with his Marines and Marauders. Zealots are not able to get close enough, and they are going to have to back off. At the same time, Zealots are going to charge and harass that mineral line at that natural. I think this is very wise by SOS, doing economic damage while doing damage to the main force of Innovation. The bunker is finished at that 3rd base, but the Marines and Marauders are too far away, but they're using the mineral line as a buffer zone, so very wise move by Innovation using the geography to assist them. But we've got a lot of Zealot reinforcements by that forward pylon, and it looks like we are going to see a lot of action near Innovation's base. Innovation is holding on there, using a lot of stimmed Marines and Marauders at that natural, focusing down on those Zealots. And we've also got this small medevac force that hasn't been dealt with as of yet. They are going to focus down on the Archons. The Archons have been able to dispatch of almost all the units, and it looks like finally the medevacs have been destroyed, but at the same time, Innovation has a larger army at his natural ramp, and it is going to push SOS back. SOS is down by about 20 supply, and it looks like he's going to lose 2 of his High Templar for free as well. And now SOS is in full retreat, and it's very difficult to retreat from stimmed Marauders when they have concussive shells. So SOS is really hurting here. He's down by almost 30 supply. Even though he has the upgrade advantage, and in fact he's getting 3-3, SOS is not holding on very well. He doesn't have Sonic Storm as of yet. It's halfway finished. Now, if Innovation has picked up on the fact that he has no Sonic Storm, he could move in here and finish off his Protoss opponent, and I think that's exactly what he's going to try and do here. He's going to boost in here with 4 medevacs. The scan does go down. SOS is able to see it. Now, there is a cannon and 2 High Templars here, so feedbacks can do a lot of damage to these medevacs. But if they don't have that much energy, it's not going to work. And Innovation is going to be able to get past those High Templar. They weren't paying attention for just a second. The feedbacks do go down, but we got lots of Marines and Marauders behind this mineral line. At the same time, we do have a smaller attack force attacking the natural. And now SOS is split up. He is going to defend his main base first. The Zealots are chopping away at the Marauders. Marauders behind that mineral line, like I mentioned. And focusing down now on the Forge. The Forge will not finish that +3 weapons upgrade. Great focusing by Innovation. The army will fall. At the same time, Innovation is going to retreat from his smaller attack force from the natural. But he was able to force the cancel on that Nexus once again. Just end-to-end action. Unfortunately for SOS, he's on the wrong end of the action. And once again, his Nexus has been destroyed. He's going to have to re-warp it in. At the same time, his 3rd Nexus is not up as of yet. He's really behind economically. And even though he does have the upgrade advantage, like I mentioned, he hasn't been able to utilize it. And Innovation has been mining from this 3rd base for quite a while. He's got lots of mules going on. And he's got 4 supply depots to block off this bunker. It's going to be very difficult for a few Zealots to harass his 3rd base now. So Innovation is in a very fine position. SOS needs to recollect himself. And he's down by 50 supply. I think it's very unlikely for SOS to come back in this game. He'd have to have unbelievable psionic storms. And possibly for Innovation to fall asleep for about 30 seconds during the encounter. Then I think Innovation has a chance to win. Barring that, I don't see it happening. As Innovation's army is just so much larger. He's already ahead by 60 supply. We got +3 weapons on the way. SOS is moving to the middle of the map. This might not be very wise, but it doesn't matter where you go right now. Either you face Innovation, or Innovation is going to face you. And this is not going to end very well for SOS, I don't think. That third Nexus is finally going to get warped in. Just as the Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs are going to be knocking on that front door. The scan is able to go down, so Innovation knows exactly what to expect. At the same time, he's going to open up some space here, able to destroy those rocks, but SOS does have Psionic Storm. So Innovation cannot be entirely careless here. And it looks like this is going to be a game of cat and mouse. We do have 199 supply for Innovation, so for all intents and purposes, he is maxed out. His Protoss opponent is at 125. Two storms do go down, killing a few units and causing a lot of damage. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to be enough. We have two small attack forces from Innovation. Innovation is going to be attacking that third base. The Zealots are getting chewed up quite easily. Archons are doing a lot of splash damage. So at the same time, we do have another attack force attacking the Natural with assistance of Medevacs. Lots of Stim Marines behind this line, just walking in like a Congo line. There's no strategy, just go in one by one, and going to be focusing down on that Nexus. Once again, the Zealots are not going to be able to do that much damage to the Marines. Another Psionic Storm does go down. Two Templars are going to morph into that Archon. Unfortunately, Archon is going to be destroyed immediately, and SOS is going to have to tap out. Just two attack forces, so one in the middle of the map still, one at that Natural. Innovation just had too much of a supply advantage. And so that's going to spell the end of SOS in this series. Innovation is going to take it 2-0. So interesting series by both players, mostly on SOS's part. Just, I'm not sure what prompted him to say, I really need to commit to the proxy Oracle rush. And he did it both games, and both games he lost. So I'm not sure why he was committed to it. He tried to make it work. It didn't work. Innovation was able to react beautifully. Was able to hand SOS an 0-2 loss. So very good play by Innovation. SOS, I mean, good play, but interesting choice of tactics. So I hope you guys found this set of replays interesting. I'm going to be uploading more and more replays and commentary as time goes on. If you do like the videos, great. And if you don't have to watch them. And I hope to see you guys next time.